I thought renting this cheap place would be the fresh start I needed. Little did I know, the horrifying things that lay there would change everything. It started with a simple rule. When I moved into my new apartment, the landlord, an old man with sunken eyes, handed me the keys and said, "Whatever you do, don't acknowledge the man in the hallway." I chuckled awkwardly. What? His expression didn't change. Don't look at him, don't speak to him. If you do, he'll come inside. I wanted to ask more, but something in his tone made me stop. Instead, I nodded, took my keys, and moved in. At first, everything was fine. The apartment was small, but perfect for someone living alone. It had a cozy layout, and the rent was dirt cheap. Too cheap. I should have questioned that. The first time I saw him was about 2 weeks later. I'd been working late and got home around 11 p.m. The hallway was dimly lit, the flickering fluorescent bulbs casting eerie shadows. As I made my way to my door, I noticed someone standing near the stairwell. A tall, thin man in a dark suit. He was facing slightly away, his head tilted downward as if looking at something on the floor. My heart pounded. Don't acknowledge him. I kept walking, forcing myself not to glance at him again. My hands were shaking as I unlocked my door and stepped inside. But just as I was about to shut it, a whisper. "You see me." The voice was hollow, like wind through an empty tunnel. I slammed the door shut and locked it. My body was trembling. I didn't sleep much that night. The next few nights were worse. Every night around 3 a.m. there would be a knock on my door. 3 slow, deliberate taps. I never opened it, never looked through the peephole, but I knew he was there. Then, the whispers started. At first they were faint, almost like the wind, but each night they grew clearer. "You see me. I see you." I stopped leaving my apartment after dark. I even started sleeping with the TV on, hoping the noise would drown out the whispers. Then one night, something changed. I was lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, when I felt it. A presence. The air in my room felt thick, suffocating. My skin prickled. It felt like someone was standing over me, just out of sight. Slowly I turned my head toward my bedroom door. It was open. I always kept it closed, always. But now it was cracked open just slightly, and through that small opening, I saw movement, a shadow. I stopped breathing. My body refused to move. Every instinct screamed at me to not look. But then the door creaked, opening wider. A shape stepped in, tall, thin, dressed in dark clothes. I couldn't see its face. I didn't want to. My body finally reacted. I lunged for my bedside lamp and flicked it on. The room was empty. My door, however, was wide open now. I didn't sleep at all that night. I decided to move out the next morning. I didn't care about the lease, my deposit, nothing. I just needed to leave. As I was dragging my suitcase down the stairs, I saw the landlord standing by the entrance. He watched me with tired eyes. "You looked at him, didn't you?" I didn't answer. He sighed. He follows those who acknowledge him. I swallowed hard. If I leave, will he stop? The landlord didn't respond. He just shook his head slightly and walked away. I left that day. For a while things were quiet. No knocks, no whispers. I almost convinced myself it was all in my head. Until last week, I was walking home from work when I passed an alleyway, and I saw him, standing in the shadows, not moving, just